This video contains extreme spoilers for all episodes of Netflix's The Mole, including the mole's identity. You have been warned.
Previously on Adventure Game Show Geek.
The mole is Joy. Final answer, locked in. Yeah, no, I saw that coming. The second Kazi said those sacred words of holy moly, I knew I was wrong. But anyway, Kazi's the mole, Will is the well-deserving winner, and Joy somehow made it to second place. Somehow. But now the series is over, let's review it. How good was it as a series of The Mole? How good was it as a reality show in general? What do we think? My very first episode 1 impression was that the challenges really felt like mole challenges. And that's because they are. What I mean is that several challenges have directly been taken or adapted from other versions of The Mole. Most of them, in fact. The Big Red Button, the Dossiers, the Food Bomb, the Chain Challenge, and many more. All taken from the Belgian The Mole or the original American series. And yet, I still found them lacking. This could be down to the fact there were physically less challenges. Using this year's Dutch season as a reference, We as The Mole had 26 challenges, averaging at about 3 an episode. The Mole had a measly 16 in comparison, 1 or 2 an episode, although there were a few multi-part challenges. Why could this be? Well, the average episode of Netflix Mole is 45 minutes, while the average Dutch Mole is an hour. So could those extra 15 minutes have made all the difference? I doubt it. Not to mention the challenges in The Mole went into the 10th episode, which in We as The Mole is reserved for the reveal and the reunion. It's not just the quantity of challenges that is a limiting factor, but their quality as well. They were missing something, well, 3 somethings to be precise. Firstly, variety. I don't know about you, but I found most of the challenges to be very generic, very samey. Lots of escape rooms, which I normally love in game shows, but The Mole overdid it, with a few temptation and action challenges thrown in. No creative challenges at all, and none that involved persuading members of the public. This one-note feeling was contributed to by the lack of the second something, pizzazz. Example. In the Big Red Button challenge, the team that pressed the button was exempt from elimination. Simple enough. In The Mole, their Big Red Button resulted in half the elimination chairs being blown up. You see what I'm getting at here? There was a distinct lack of showmanship that just took away some of the sparkle. The only challenge that went above and beyond in any way was the finale challenge, but this was also an adaptation and I'm unfamiliar with the original, so even this might have been toned down. If you did see the original, please let me know in the comments if there was any stark differences. The final something is the most important of the 3. The thing that really drew me into We as The Mole and The Mole is how cultural it is. It's always been a globe-hopping show, but The Mole really dives deep into the culture of the country it takes place in. It will take languages, landmarks, locations, traditions, and people, and makes them crucial to the challenges. It's an opportunity for the viewers and contestants to learn more about the world and the people in it. And it's absolutely brilliant. In The Mole, however, the location is nothing more than a location. I get that as most Australian people speak English, any communicate with the locals challenges would have been pointless and therefore rightfully not included. But the games played felt like they could have been played anywhere, which leaves the viewer thinking, why go to Australia in the first place? I admit they brought up some locations, the Daintree Rainforest and the Great Barrier Reef, which was honestly more than some people were predicting, so kudos for the bare minimum. And yes, the Sydney Opera House was mentioned, but only in between challenges and played no role in them. I felt like they could have at least done an opera-themed challenge. And it would have been nice if they'd done a challenge showcasing or celebrating Aboriginal culture, the same way We as The Mole celebrates whichever cultures it features. So, in conclusion, the challenges were decent, but not as good as they could have been. All glitter, no gold. Moving on, let's discuss the structure behind the show, both within the episodes and the release schedule. Now, I'm firmly on the side of broadcast television over streaming, mainly because the binging model is not one that works for competition shows. The rigid structure of most game shows deters binging, and the model just doesn't work very well for ongoing series-long competitions, such as the likes of, say, Raven, which had quite literally the perfect watch model in its earlier series, or more relevantly, The Quest, which was crammed into a binge drop and suffered for it. You need to give the audience time to breathe, to pick a favourite and root for them, to get excited, and for shows like The Mole, to theorise. It's less fun to guess The Mole when 4 competitors are out of the running from the get-go. Also, the binging model deprives the streaming service as well. This is the 3rd video I've done on The Mole, the other 2 being theory videos. And I'm hardly the only one, there's been some awesome videos made. It's free advertising, and you do not look a gift mole in the hole. There's a chance that if they had dropped episodes week by week, they could have got a video from me every week. Probably not though, given my erratic video schedule. Yeah, sorry it's been a month since I said I'd make this. And if they had dropped them all at once, they would have gotten just this one, and it would have been a lot more negative. So I'm glad that they did take those 2 tactical breaks, but I still think it's not the ideal. As for the structure of the individual episodes, what structure? In a normal episode of The Mole, challenges are completed, the quiz is taken, someone is eliminated, and the episode ends. Any variation on that is a gimmick. In The Mole, it's the norm. The quizzes happen whenever, the eliminations happen whenever, and entire episodes can pass without either, or end in the middle of them. The only semblance of structure is that you know for certain the episode will end at the moment of most melodrama. It's an interesting choice. I found it irritating, bordering tedious, but even I have to admit the cliffhangers were effective in retaining audience attention. Now, let's talk smaller differences. There were no jokers, only exemptions. There was also a distinct lack of time spent with the contestants outside of challenges. And I don't mean confessionals. There were more than enough confessionals. I mean, talking at dinner, talking when they wake up, and most importantly, scheming together. Remember the Pranav and Avery alliance? I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. It was barely mentioned and it seemed to come out of nowhere. I would have loved to know a bit more about that. Not to mention, oh yeah, the Joy and Jacob alliance that we never heard about. Their argument, staged by the 2 of them. That's awesome, and yet it was only brought up in interviews and press coverage afterwards. What? It definitely feels like something that belonged in the show. And if we missed something as big as that, well, what else did we miss? Something else that didn't make it into the final cut, revealing the hidden clues. Seriously? That's one of the biggest draws of the show, and they couldn't bear to make the final episode a smidgen longer? The clues are instead revealed on the Netflix YouTube channel, and it was a proper reveal, filmed in the studio with the contestant reactions and everything, just cut. Bad move, and yes, it was the godforsaken flag of Colombia. So, I've gone on and on, practically laser focus on the negatives, the flaws, the questionable decision making. Does that mean I hated it? No, because surprise, I actually really enjoyed it. Loved theorising and obsessing over it. It was good enough to convince my mum to join me in watching next year's Dutch series, and normally even she draws a line at watching things in other languages with me. I know my friends certainly enjoyed watching me lose my mind over a tiny strip of blue, so there's that as well. And there were elements I really liked, like the use of phones in the eliminations. I thought that was really cool. And the host did a good job. The clues were nicely subtle, even if the mole wasn't. That was a short list. Also, this is the first series of a reboot. It's allowed teething issues. So, overall, it's okay. If you're a casual reality show fan, it'll be interesting, engaging even. But if you have any idea about the depth, colour and detail of its predecessors, then it stings with the sour taste of what it could have been. And I'm done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Me, I'm a little miffed that my 2 most recent reviews are both American and from streaming services. Thank goodness for the new series of Guahehebene. Until next time, it's only a game, isn't it?